Today has been a very rough day. She's very fussy today. And I don't know if it's like cluster feeding because, late night Googles show that cluster feeding doesn't happen this soon. But it's one of those days where I'm feeding her. I've literally been eating this smoothie since probably like 9 a.m. So I feed her, switch sides, change the diaper. She gets upset about that. She gasps for air. Then she throws up, and then we feed the other side, and then we rest. And then as soon as I'm like, okay, I'm going to put you down and put you like in something so I can go and do what I want to do, she gets upset. So then we start the cycle over again. Went to the pediatrician. Everything's great. But she just, like, I needed to feed her at that time. And that was the hardest thing, is watching your baby wail their heart out when like they just need your boob. But this person needs to do their job. So I think that didn't help. Kind of set off our like feeding schedule. So literally about 8 minutes ago, I felt myself like really getting worked up, and like hormones are really weird. It's like I just want to cry, and it's not even that big of a deal. But like I just was like, I'm been doing this for an hour and a half now. And Michael's done with work early today because today's Wednesday, the holiday before Thanksgiving. And I just went to, I was like, I can't do this. I need 30 minutes. And if she cries for those 30 minutes, like she's inside, I'm going in the garage and I'm going to do my workout. Because I need sunlight. I haven't been outside. I've been trying to go for a walk, but like literally we were going to go for a walk the other night and she just fed for like an hour, and then I needed to eat. And then by then I was like, okay, I'm going to bed. So I'm like, okay. I'm sure somebody, like, you can hear like the anxiety or the distress in my voice, because as I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh my God. And so that's really hard. And it's like, I thought a lot like of the beginning would be more about my body, but I haven't even, to be honest, like had time to criticize my body and like look at it, because big shirts are super comfortable. I'm still in, so these are the compression underwear. These are the Freedom Mom disposable underwear. Like I'm still in the, I look like I just had a baby outfit. So, and I don't have time to like stare at a mirror and be like, man, I really hate my belly right now, because I like have been feeding for every other hour. So, okay. The main thing I want to talk about today is the training. The nutrition, I'm kind of playing around with a couple things, so I'm going to follow up on that with another video, because there's some other things I want to talk about that we can include there. But for the training, it's really interesting. So I planned out a 6-week program for myself and gave myself certain like timelines on it, of like, hey, we don't need to be doing this on these days, because for me, I would just like go back to the gym and go balls to the wall. So yesterday I started moving around a little bit more and doing some more mobility stuff, and I was like, God, that feels so good. And then I started kind of doing some squats and some hip bridges, and I was like, okay, I think I'm ready like for the next week. So I finished week 1. Week 2, my goals were still to do those contractions that I talked about, and then the lower abdominal contractions and focusing on breathing. And then I was going to incorporate marches. So essentially a modified version of a dead bug progression, I would say. And I'm like, okay, well, what is week 3? And week 3 is a little bit more like knee rocks. Sorry, I'm outside and it feels so good. Like, hello, people. I exist. Okay, so I'm looking at week 3, and it's contractions. So same thing, 2 sets of 6, but I have a 6-second hold now. Knee rocks, 2 sets of 6. Heel slides, 2 sets of 6. Glute bridges, 2 sets of 8. A hip flexor stretch, 2 sets of 5 with a 3-second hold. Hip hinge, and a cat cow and a bird dog. So those will be in, they should have just popped up right there. So I'm looking at that and I'm like, man, I feel ready to do that. Oh, I'm supposed to go on a 10-minute walk too. Probably not. So I feel ready to do that. So essentially what I'm going to do now is, so I don't get ahead of myself, and I'm going to skip week 2 of my program. So this is kind of what I did here. You probably can't see it very well, but so this is week 1, and then I'm going to skip this week because I feel like my body feels good overall. I mean, minus the sleep and soreness for breastfeeding, but I'm going to go to week 3. Today's Wednesday, and so I'm going to stay here until Sunday and make that like my commitment. I'm going to probably add in a bit more mobility because that feels really good for me. And then on Sunday or Monday of next week, I'm probably going to start doing some body weight movement. And so I have that for every other day, and then mobility on the off days. So why I'm doing that, and I'm going to caution this for those listening and watching, is I have worked very hard to like listen to my body instead of my brain telling my body what to do. For a long time, that was kind of my MO, is I would tell my body what it should be doing, and injuring myself and just kind of being like pissed off and then completely modifying workouts so it would work around my injuries. But now I'm listening to it, and it feels ready to move on a little bit quicker than I had anticipated. I'm happy that I had the opportunity to go through and make this. Should I not feel how I feel today, or even tomorrow and whatnot, like I can always go back to that week 2 if I'm like, oh my gosh, that was too much. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to skip ahead to week 3 because I feel ready for it. Now, I would caution, like if I was a client or if I was coaching a client right now, I would say kind of the same thing of let's do it day by day and check in and see how you're feeling. But let's be really honest. And let's not ignore what our body might be telling us, because if we ignore it, we're going to end up back to week 2. And I don't want to do that. So for a client, what I would say is, okay, let's try it. These movements, they're not super intense, but what we don't want to do is go, oh, great, you feel good? Let's go back to body weight squats and let's go back to lifting. And I also know my body's not ready to lift. I took Olivia to the pediatrician today, and I was carrying the car seat with her in it. She weighs like 6 pounds, and a car seat weighs whatever it weighs. And I was like, oh, that does not feel good, like on my pelvic floor. Like it just did not feel like strong. I felt my pelvic floor more than I would want to carrying a car seat. So I was like, okay, don't need to be carrying anything. And then to further compound that feeling, I bought Michael a push gift for our baby. And it's like this box it was a heavier box, but it wasn't like super, and so I picked it up and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, no, we are not ready to carry anything. And so that reminded me, like, okay, like farmer's carries or something like that with a dumbbell or a kettlebell. I was like, okay, we don't need to be doing that yet, like putting that much load on the pelvic floor. Whereas, I mean, literally the week of I was supposed to give birth, I was doing 50-pound kettlebell carries. And lifting over 100 pounds, 195, back squatting. So that's where I'm coming from, is a 195 back squat on a box going to, I can't even carry this like box that maybe weighs 15 pounds without my pelvic floor like being, I don't want to say too engaged because we want the pelvic floor engaged, but I want to say like I shouldn't feel it that much picking up this box. So that definitely was an indication that I'm not ready to like jump the gun and add weight. Body weight will probably be okay, but we'll find out. So the first thing we're doing is the contractions. And from my video before, we're going to pull everything up. So we're thinking of, there's a string coming up from my vajayjay, or maybe I'm going to hold on to a blueberry in there. There's a ton of different kind of cues that you can use. But what you don't want to do is just kind of like grip down. You want to engage. So as I'm exhaling, I'm bringing up that blueberry. As I'm exhaling, I'm pulling up that string. And then I'm also containing my whole core as well. I'm not just like getting punched in the gut. I'm making it a streamed, kind of process. So before I was doing 2 sets of 6, holding it for 3 seconds. Today we're going to do 2 sets of 6, holding it for 6 seconds. And so what I like to do is I'm going to lay on this floor. And careful with your belly. That was probably not a good belly fall down. I'm going to have my knees up. You can also have them up like on a bench or something like that. That's going to just help kind of like bring awareness more to this part. So as I come in, I'm going to inhale, expand my whole rib cage, expand my belly, expand my back, thinking of pushing my back into the ground here. And then as I exhale, I'm going to bring in my core and pull up through my belly. And I know this is probably really hard for you to start, but it's one of those things that we just keep practicing and practicing and practicing, and then all of a sudden one day you got it, and then you don't get it again, and then we keep doing it over and over. So inhale, I'm letting my pelvic floor push out, or relax out rather, and bringing it all the way back up. So I'm going to hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and relax. And then I'm going to repeat that 4 more times. I'll take a break and then do another set of that. Okay, so the next one is knee rocks. So all of it is rocking my knees side to side. I don't want to like flail like windshield wipers. I want nice and slow where I'm feeling kind of this back stretch out. 1 and 1 and 2. So I'm going to do 2 sets of 6 here. That feels really good. Good. And I'm also going to breathe through it too. So inhale, exhale. Inhale. So again, engaging my core, nice and slow. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. There we go. The next one I'm going to do is a heel slide. So this is again a progression leading up to the dead bug. So before, when we were contracting the lower TAs, I had my hand on my belly here. And so this is just to bring my mind aware to this area. So that way I'm creating a better connection. This tends to get, this is going to sound wrong, shut off with pregnancy just because everything has to expand and relax. But now I'm saying, okay, we need to turn this back on. So heel slide, all I'm going to do is kind of kick my heel up. I'm going to inhale, bring it out, and drag it back in. And I can alternate or I can do one at a time. So inhale, exhale. And I'm feeling these lower ones contract here. Inhale, exhale. The slower, the better. That's going to be the hard thing for like my clients who are more athlete based, is they're going to want to rush through this and be like, hey, I checked that box. There is no box to check. It's more so of like the box to check is you getting it in for yourself and feeling better.
All right, the other one is glute bridge. So feet are going to be in just a lay down position. I don't know how to explain it. A little bit away from your butt. So further out is going to be more hamstrings. Closer is going to be more butt. Now I'm going to do exhale, lift my butt, and bring it back down. Exhale, lift my butt, and bring it back down. So we're going to do 2 sets of 8 of that.
Okay. Next one is the kneeling hip flexor stretch. So what I'm going to work on is getting this area right here. And I'm just going to kind of lean into it. I want to tuck my butt to protect it. And I'm going to go into it and hold for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Coming back out. So we're doing 5 of these. 1, 2, 3. Now, the thing is, I do feel a little bit straining in my pelvic floor, or more so in my pubic bone. I don't want to push past that point of discomfort. I'm going to go, okay, it's uncomfortable here. Why don't I back off a little bit? So 1, 2, 3. And then, so I'm going to do 5 of those, switch sides. Next thing is a hip hinge. So this is a modified version to bring me back into a deadlift and a good morning. So all I'm going to do is just have my booty sit on my heels, and I'm going to come up and sit back down. Come up and sit back down. I should feel this in my butt, or so it actually feels really nice. Good. And so I'm doing 2 sets of 6 of that. Last one, or last 2, excuse me, is going to be a cat-cow. So when I'm doing cat-cow, what I'll see is a lot of people bring their shoulders forward. I want to actually engage my lats. So I'm going to create a nice flat back, and I'm going to pull in here. So if I was with a client, I would literally put my hand right here and say push into here. So think of like a lat pull down essentially, or a pull up. So push into here, round, exhale, inhale, drop and look up. Exhale, or inhale, excuse me. exhale, drop, and look up. So what I'm focusing on here is how does this feel throughout my spine? Can I articulate each vertebrae as it curls and dips down? What I don't want to do is dump. I'm doing everything with a controlled motion and really stretching it. Maybe it feels good to go side by side here. And I'm going to exhale. Good. So I'm going to do 2 sets of 6 of that. Last one is a bird dog. This one is a little bit more advanced. I probably would only use this with specific clients. And so who would this apply to? So 1, you've got an athletic background. 2, you are working out consistently going into pregnancy and through pregnancy. 3, you feel a good mind-body connection. If you don't meet those 3 criteria, then I'm probably not going to do this for you. If I was going to do something else, bird dog, or I can take a ball, and what I'm going to do is just press down and inhale and exhale. So exhale as I press the ball down. I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to press down, exhale as I press, inhale as I come back up. That's a modified version that I would include for a client that maybe was inconsistent with working out, had a really challenging pregnancy, is just looking to reconnect. If I've got, again, the more athletic client, what I'm going to do is more of a bird dog. So again, I'm going to engage lats, just like cat-cow. I'm going to make sure that my belly is nice and tight, that I'm engaging it. So thinking of those contractions that we did before, right? It's going to be really important. So here I'm going to bring them into the reality of the actual movement. And even I can just start here with just an arm, or I can start with just a leg. But what I don't want to see is rocking. I'm going to have a firm base and coming out and exhaling as I'm drawing in. Belly staying tight. If it's not, and that's too challenging to keep going from rep to rep to rep, what I might do is 1, break, 1, break, Now that's going to take you longer, but again, that's kind of the benefit of doing this is we're going to build it up over time. You don't even have to do all of these exercises on one day if you're pressed for time, like I might be. It's been like 20 minutes. Great. I might do half today and half tomorrow. So it really depends. I might only do 1 set of everything and see if I can do another set later on in the evening. I might only do my 3 favorite that I feel like my body really needs that day and just skip the rest. It really depends on the client and how you're feeling. So this is day, what am I 8. I gave birth to her last Tuesday. Oh my God. And so that's as far as I'm going. And then the rest of the day, I'm just going to still focus on breathing. Again, I don't know if my other goal was to get a 10-minute walk 2 times today. It might not happen. I don't know. If you found this information helpful, please let me know. If you have questions about any of the movements, comment below, and I'll be sure to get them answered for you.